Welcome back to the Hall of Fame podcast. Today we are with one of our members who we've just had a chat just now, been together for 2 years now, which is absolutely insane. But Mr. George Gaskin is joining us on the podcast. So welcome, dude.
How are you, right?
Yes, I am, mate. Do you know what? I've been buzzing all day for this. Generally, our journey has been so freaking incredible. The results, the inspiration, the everything, and I've been so excited to just shoot the shit about it, just chat. And we literally just said before, like, there's no proper agenda. It's just we're gonna
Nah.
shoot the shit about your journey, dude. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
what I think would be a good way to start is just
Yep.
tell them a little bit about you, just a bit of context. You know who you are, father, football, so on and so forth. Just give them a bit of background, dude.
Yeah, so obviously George Gaskin, two kids, husband, joint football manager, still play, coach my kids' football team, coach after I work full time. Obviously, football. Obviously played with and against you,
Absolutely.
which has been good over the years, shall we say? So
Some good battles.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's just me. I just work and play football, and obviously got my family as well.
Absolutely. So if we were to rewind right back to the beginning, dude, right back to
Yep,
when you reached out, November 2022, I think it was.
yep,
What made you reach out? What made you go? Because obviously you're quite active, right? Like you say, you play
yep.
football, you keep your body moving, you're a father of active children, with their football team. So what made you go, do you know what? I actually need some help here.
Um, I think the big thing for me is I'd had worked with a couple of PTs before, and not done it for a great deal of time, and not really got what I wanted to get out of. And obviously, um, COVID was a big time as well. Obviously, it opened your eyes up to a lot of things, but I played football in my life, but never looked after myself. Always got away with just being good enough or just being fit enough, not really pushing myself or seeing how fit I can get. Because if you want to push yourself, you've got to be fit, playing the level that obviously we play now, and obviously if you want to push on from that.
100%.
But when I was younger, or say in my 20s, I always took the easy route. So, which is annoying now looking back on it. But if I'd obviously been with you 10 years ago or got myself in shape 10 years ago, things would have been a lot different. But obviously only looking forward now, the fact that I'm still playing the level I am, which is the highest level I've played at the age of 33, 34 next month. So I think obviously you can play a big part in that.
Oh, better. Do you know what I always say though? It's you guys that do the graft. It's you guys that wake up every morning. Like someone like yourself, mate. Like whatever you put on your plate, you're like, give me more. Like like
Yeah,
I think once you get the feeling of progression and results, it's almost like an addiction. You're like, bloody hell, I didn't realize I could do this much. Let me see how far I can take it, right?
yeah,
And one
definitely.
moment that highlights that for me, that it gives me goosebumps when I think about, mate, is remember when you spoke at our event and you had your boy and your
Yeah,
old man there as well. How was
yeah.
that? 'Cause so for context for
Um,
those listening, we obviously
yeah, so
host client events every 12 weeks, right? And George spoke
yeah.
about his journey. So how was that for you, buddy?
Um, I'm not the most confident and the biggest speaker in front of people, as a lot of people that know me will probably say that. But a bit like yourself, when you're passionate about something, it's easier to speak, and you don't need to
100%.
write scripts of what you're going to talk about, because it's all facts, and it's all happened, and it's all happened for
Absolutely.
good reasons. So it was a really big thing for me to talk about it, but also to have the confidence to do it. I would have never had the confidence to do that before. And my dad as well, like obviously being there, obviously my boy's into fitness as well, but dad joined the gym with me, comes with me in the mornings and stuff. So he would have
Amazing.
never done that without me, but I had to have the confidence to obviously be there in the first place. So, which is great,
Yeah.
because well, like I say, I've been to the gym with my boy and my dad. So obviously that comes from me having the confidence, but obviously willingness to obviously help other people, which I'm quite proud of as well.
Dude, there's nothing you could be more proud of. Like that's amazing. I suppose you've probably inspired friends of your own age and so forth as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think people that have known me through football, if you speak to people that knew me probably 10 years ago or played with me, would say I was very lazy, but I was lucky that I scored. So it got me out of trouble, shall we say?
Love it.
But I got to the age where if you don't work hard in things, you don't get anything out of it. So you get to a period of
100%.
time where you have to start being fitter and obviously putting in the graft. And that's not just sport; that's general life. So
Yeah, absolutely.
you have to be in the right frame of mind to make the right decisions, as well as obviously being
100%.
physically fit.
Mate, 100%. And one thing that stands out for me, the reason I asked about your own age, I knew the answer, but more so for context of those on
Yeah,
the podcast. You've inspired three different generations. And I
yeah,
think that's really cool with your
yeah. It
boy,
is. Yeah,
your own man, and those beside you, your own age on a football pitch, family and so forth. But you've inspired three generations. In
yeah.
perspective, how does that feel?
To be honest, a big thing as well is like obviously we spoke off air briefly, but like pre-season's just finished for football, and
Yeah.
my boy's 10, and he come first train session. We didn't have anywhere to train, so we did spinning, and then we
Oh,
went and done sprints around just a local pond in Little Hampton. And to be fair to him, he did the spinning and then done the sprints, and then we run
wow.
back to the football club from there. And having a conversation with one of the boys that I think's probably the same age as you, to be fair, and he said like, I wish my dad had made me done this when I was 10 and 11, because it would have
100%.
given me the right frame of mind moving forward, knowing that I needed to do it. But it's not wanting to do it at 10, 11. It's if you do it at 10 and 11, it makes it a lot easier moving forward, because you've
Oh,
already
dude,
done it.
100%.
Getting to 14, 15 thinking, oh no, I need to go for a road run, or I need to get fit, I need to do this. But at the moment, it's all he knows. So I'm giving.
Absolutely.
He'll thank me for it, but to be honest, he enjoys it. So which is good, because
Yeah, of
no one
course.
enjoys running.
No, I was about to say, yeah. But like, it does get to the point. It's almost like brushing your teeth. It's not a weird thing to do. You just brush your teeth,
No,
right? It's like the
yeah,
same thing. Like
exactly. Yeah,
I run because I like the feeling. I like to be fit. I like to be healthy. And
yeah,
obviously, the fact that he's an athlete himself, and that can potentially be a career path, or
absolutely. Yeah,
even regardless, just the opportunity to actually sit there and go, do you know what? Like I'm fit. I'm healthy. I'm a teenager going into teenage years. Like
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
think I think for your perspective as a father, you probably look at him and go, "Fucking hell, like proud of him, right?" It's a big thing to do
yeah.
at that age.
Yeah, it is, but also to have the confidence to go and run with 20 blokes. Do you know what I mean? Like he's he's
Adults as
sprint
well.
he's sprinting around a pond, and he's like, we did it 3 times, and on the second one we were having a break, and he was like, Dad, I'm gonna go now, so I get back like at the same time as the rest sprinting. Do you know what I mean? And having the confidence to put
Wow.
himself out there and do that, but. It's like anything. If you're half decent at something, you actually don't mind it. So it's giving him the
Oh,
confidence with that, because he's actually all right at the minute. So
100% mate, quality. Yeah, that no, mate. That's really
he can't play
inspirational
football
because
though.
yeah, that'll come though, really. That'll come.
That'll come.
He'll
Yeah,
keep
got
watching his
time.
old man. If not, tell him to come down to one of our games and show him out stuff.
Yeah.
But no, that's
I hope
quality,
he
mate.
does.
I think it's so cool that, like I said, the journey started with obviously yourself wanting to be fitter, stronger, and just the amount of people you've inspired. And the crazy thing is as well, like the amount of people you've inspired that you don't even realize. I mean, right now on our Smart Body Performance page, we're live. I bet there's people watching now that are probably inspired, right? There's people that are listening to this back on their podcast in the headphones whilst they're going for a run, thinking, "Fucking hell, like I feel." Yeah, I've got my second wind here, right? And I think that's really cool. So
Yeah, definitely.
what I like us to do is kind of rewind a little bit, back towards the beginning
Yeah,
and kind of have like a bit of a comparison as to where we're at now. What kind of
yeah.
results would you say you've seen since November 2022? Jesus.
Doing a photo shoot for starters.
Yeah, yeah,
Christ.
yeah. Getting the
Yeah,
tan on.
just getting the tan on twice, shall we say? But no, having the confidence to have a spray tan, and get up in front of the camera, obviously, was
Yeah, yeah.
unbelievable. Never thought I'd do that, but
100%.
like the knowledge that I have now compared to what I had 2 years ago is like it's on another level. And I wouldn't say I've been in the gym for years and years, like probably 2 or 3 years before getting obviously on your team. Obviously COVID played a part in that, but the knowledge that I have now, like obviously bringing Dad into the gym, helping him and stuff like that. So it's quite mind blowing what I know now compared to what I didn't know 2 years ago. And yeah, when people say, "Oh, yeah, but you haven't been in the gym with Reece, or you haven't done this, it's all online, etc." It's all, you're there. you're there every time I
In
need
your
you, and
pocket.
that's the main thing. Like at the end of the day, that's what you're there for. You're there to answer questions.
Absolutely.
If I've got any issues, then obviously you send the video over. You answer it straight away. It's job done. So you are there
100%.
probably more than if I had a session with a PT in the gym and then didn't see them for a week. Do you know what I mean? So
100%.
yeah, it's been massive for me.
I love that, dude. And I get asked the question a lot as well. As you have, like, when people say, "Oh, so you do coach online? How's it work? Like Zoom?" And I was like, "No, it's not quite like that. I used to do PT
Yeah,
in person, but the whole reason I took this whole thing online was when COVID hit. We were forced to go online. We didn't have a
yeah,
choice, right? And all of
absolutely,
a
yeah,
sudden, everyone's results were tenfold. And
yeah,
I sat down and I thought, right, it must be COVID. People got time on their hands. But I thought, actually, everyone's getting so much more attention to detail, like their nutrition plans, their training programs, their support around sleep, their mental health, their stress management, their energy, as opposed to just seeing them for 45 minutes and see you next week. It's 24 hours a day. They've got what they need. And that was a massive thing
yeah,
for me that I went, okay, let's see if this COVID thing's a fluke. I'll try it after COVID. All of a sudden, everyone's results
yeah,
continue fucking flying. So it's like, right, there's a common denominator here, right? But
yeah,
I suppose that's quite a good topic to touch on. Like, obviously, reaching out, I'm sure, like, for pretty much everyone is probably like, okay, this online thing, it sounds good. Like, I don't know, we knew each other anyway, but there's probably a little
yeah,
bit of skepticism, right? Just because it's a path untraveled. So, what was you
yeah.
worried about, or what was you hesitant about prior?
Um, I think obviously when you look at your results page, it speaks for itself. Like it's a no brainer. Like you don't just go and pay people with good bodies and go, look, can you just put my name above it and then get business off that? Like the proof's there. Do you know what I mean? You can see the journeys, and
100%.
again, people wouldn't come on camera and go like how brilliant. Obviously, the system is that you obviously put on for people. So
Okay.
I didn't really have much concern, to be honest, because I wouldn't have spoke to you if I didn't believe that I was going to get what I
Yeah,
needed from you.
of
And obviously
course.
knowing you helped with that. But again, going back to like the knowledge side, like obviously with the football, like even with the carb loading before football, I've never done that. Like, do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah, of course.
My carb loading would have been a takeaway on a Friday night and a
Yeah,
bottle of wine. Do you
kebab.
know what I mean? So, and then if I scored a hat trick, job done. I'd have another bottle of wine. So,
Yeah, I
but
was about to
just
say,
little
celebrate
things
with
like
another
that.
one.
But like even like from the start, obviously before the photo shoot, like where we'd cut and then you're like, right, you got to eat these carbs, and you're like, yeah, that's easy, and then you start eating and you think, oh no, what am I going to
Not
do
as easy
now?
as
I
I
can't
thought.
eat all this food, and I'm like, what have I done to myself?
Yeah,
but
because
but
yeah,
that's
people think that.
but that's
Go ahead, go ahead.
no, that's just the beauty of obviously the transformation, because you don't understand, because people say like, oh, I want this, I want that, but until you're in the moment and like you can see the transition, but we all have up and down days. Don't get me wrong, but
Of course.
like
Yeah,
for instance, people are like, oh, well, I'll cut for a month and then I'll see how I am. But ultimately, we know we need to do it longer than that to achieve the right result. But I don't think anybody can say what they want until they've actually tried it. And like,
hundred
obviously, we've done
percent.
the cut and the bulk, and there's been both times where I'm like, oh, well, I feel a bit skinny or I feel a bit overweight, and obviously you're there
Yeah,
to obviously right keep going with it, and we'll get to the end, and which is it is what you need. But ultimately, there's no
yeah,
point going, well, right, Reese, in 2 years I want to be 20 kg bigger, six pack muscle, and that if you can't eat the food every day,
hundred
it
percent. Yeah,
you, and you've got to feel right as well. So I think that's the beauty of obviously the online coaching as well, because with yourself you've got more time to obviously look at people's weeks and obviously put time into their nutrition as well. And I don't think you could probably do that if you were seeing someone once a week and probably getting like
hundred
a
percent.
vibe off them, how they are when you're doing a training session. Sorry, because if they have a good training session, but then they're going home and they're thinking, well, I can't eat the food. You're thinking, well, they're all right when I left them, and then you
Hundred
get to the
percent.
next week and they're like, well, I put on a bit of weight, but I haven't really. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's the beauty of it. If
Have the
you've got
sunset, yeah.
more time to put into people,
Mate, dude, I could not agree with you more. And the thing is, as well, the novelty of a great workout wears off after the pump goes down, right? Like, you might finish
yeah,
the workout,
absolutely,
that PT might be like, right, this guy's locked in, right? He's ready to go. He
yeah,
ain't gonna eat no shit tonight. And he goes home and he won't. He'll have a protein shake, he'll have an avocado, and he'll be feeling on top of the world, right? But then all of a
yeah,
sudden, that novelty of the good workout wears off. the next day kicks in, or that evening, the bad foods creep in, and then you see that PT the following week after zero accountability throughout. They go, great, so
Yeah.
fucking you left on a high last week. How's things going? And you're like, oh, wow, gained 2 pounds and
Yeah.
it's not going great. And they're like, well, what do you mean? It was great last week. It's like that novelty do not last, and that's why we don't do
No.
it on in person, right? But I think
Yeah.
what you touched on there that's really important, actually, and a great piece of practical advice for people is people look at a cutting phase and think that's hard, but then look at a gaining phase and think, oh, that's a piece of piss. Like, all you got to do is eat more food. Beautiful.
Yeah.
But people don't quite realize it. It's actually a
Nah.
difficult phase, right?
It is. I love food. Don't get me wrong, but when you're trying to, don't get me wrong, I could bulk if I could eat like any
Whatever
food.
you
Do you know what I
want.
mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
but
yeah.
when you're trying to keep in like your macros, and obviously you're trying to keep your nutrition to a clean bulk, so you don't gain all the fat. Trying to eat 500 grams of carbs when you're eating sort of wrapped bagels. I had to add bagels in just to, like, I love bagels, don't get me wrong, but I was eating
Yeah, me too.
3 or 4 just to get get them in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
100%.
which
Yeah,
which
yeah.
sounds lovely when you get told you're on 1,800 calories in 3 months later. Do you know what I mean? Give me a bagel or
You
two.
almost dream of the moment you can have that many
Yeah,
bagels, and then that moment
yeah,
comes, and you think, "Fucking hell, careful what you wish for."
yeah, absolutely. So, but again, until you try it, you don't know how you're going to react, and I feel like that's what people's problems are when they go with probably more so a PT, that they're being coached by like a one-off, because that, like you say, your nutrition's so important. And if you say, look, I want to do this and that, but you can't eat the food, then you're not going to be honest. I don't think nine
Yeah,
times out of
100%.
ten, you're just going to go day by day, and then the following week, you know what it's like. It's the week's gone. You've wasted another week, and you haven't actually got anywhere. You're actually going backwards.
100%.
And I think that's another good thing with obviously yourself. If anybody's got any problems, because you're on the end of the phone straight away, rather than obviously we have our check-ins on the Sunday. If we've got a problem on the Wednesday, we don't drag it out to the Sunday. We nip it in the bud, and it's job done
Absolutely.
straight away. So that you're
100%.
not wasting days like people do, like with the yo-yo diets, when they're like, oh, sorry, I'll worry about it Monday. Like, we're not like, oh, sorry, we'll speak to Reese on Sunday, it'll be job done. We'd have put on half a stone by then. Do you know what I mean? So that's
Yeah,
the
man,
beauty of
100%.
obviously
Yeah.
having you on the other end of the phone straight away.
Dude, 100%. And I think that's where, like you say, the I'll start Monday culture comes from. It's like, fucked it. I don't really know what to do. So I'll wait till I go into the church and in Slimming World and weigh in.
Yeah,
Or I'll wait till see my PT at 2 p.m. on Tuesday, and I'll let him know what my problem is. And hopefully I'll get a solution. It can't work. I don't think it's fair. Like, I could go off on a fucking tangent for hours about this stuff, but
yeah,
I genuinely think it's such a disservice where, like, you might see a PT, then go home. And don't get me wrong, some of it is amazing. Some of it is like, so you
yeah,
do get some PTs that are fantastic, and some of them, they'll look after outside the gym, and it's absolutely brilliant. And for those, hats off. But I say for 99% of the time, it tends to not be the case, right? And I think
no,
what
I
you touched
agree.
on there is important. It's just having that course correction throughout the week where you go, fucking hell, spontaneous one. Me and the missus are going out for this. What do you reckon I should do before? Cool. Do this, this, and this.
Yeah,
Go and enjoy yourself. Like, right, cool. I feel safe to a degree that I'm not going to ruin my progress if I do this, this, and this, right?
absolutely,
And
yeah,
something that most people probably find this weird, but obviously, I know our coaching together is coming to an end, and it's
yeah,
almost like that bittersweet. It's like, I fucking love working with you, but at the same time, it's like I feel so proud of you and so buzzing that you go, right, I've got all the tools in my toolkit. I know how to keep this result. And for me, it's like, if somebody leaves the coaching program, I can keep this now. Like, I know what to do, and I'm like, fuck it, yes, like, I'm buzzing, right? So
yeah.
I guess my question is, how does it kind of feel to, obviously be going out there, controlling your own transformation journey, but knowing that you've kind of got the knowledge, or I suppose I'm assuming, like, do you feel like you got the knowledge? I mean, I know the answer, but for the podcast listeners.
Yeah, so obviously I train, so I train before I go to work. I train at 5:30 in the morning before. It's my only time that I can go to the gym, because obviously kids, family, after work, football. So this morning was the first time that I went to obviously the gym, writing my own workouts out. So obviously did that this morning. But for me, it's if I didn't think from the start that I was going to get the knowledge, because like I said to you at the start, I want to learn. I want
Yeah.
every bit of information I can get from you as much as possible over the period of time that I'm with you. Obviously, we did the cut, we did the bulk, learned so much. Obviously, the nutrition side of it's incredible. Like adding calories like each week. Like, all right, we're going to add another 100, and you think 100, is that enough
Yeah.
or is
Yeah.
that not enough? Like at the end of the day, like having lower days, if like you say we're going out for a meal or you've got say a wedding at the weekend, right, we're going to save calories. Like going in, if you're on the go, like for me, like obviously really busy like on weekends and stuff, like if I haven't got time to prep my food like on the weekends, like picking like one to go to for me is obviously a sweet chili wrap from Tesco. It's only about 375 calories, better than a triple chicken sandwich at 600
Yeah.
when you're on a
Yeah.
cut. Do you know what I mean? But like little choices like that,
100%.
I'd have never made them. I'd have never made them before. And I
Absolutely.
think that's the beauty of doing both, having the cut and the bulk. Um,
Yeah.
so for me, I know we've had this conversation, but for me, I want to come back to you in a year and come on your podcast again and go, look, Reece, look at me,
Yes.
like look at me,
Yeah. Yeah.
and like this is what you've started, and I've had the knowledge from you to carry on, and like to have it, to prove it to you will be the best thing.
Mate, that's
Do you
amazing.
know what I mean? Like for what we've achieved over the last 2 years, because this is the first time that I've worked with someone. I'm like, right now, I'm even more focused than I was last week. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because this is on me now, and like, it's me giving me a pat on my back. It's not Reece going, yeah, George, well done, another great week.
I
It's
love that.
me looking in the
Yeah.
mirror and going, right, 1% better than last week. Right, I'm going again next week. Like, right, it's like this week. I've got a week off work. We've got family. We've got 10. It's my 10th wedding anniversary on Thursday, so we're going away.
Congratulations.
Food's going to be coming in. So, like, they've had a big dinner tonight. I've had a little dinner. So,
Yeah.
but making the right
Packing some
choices
calories up.
today. Like, but it's going to be like rather than a week away, it's going to be a week this week, and then like I'll still be making right choices. But there's going to be times where this week where things are going to change. But I know when I get to back to Monday, I'm back to work. Like everything's back locked in. Like obviously having that little bit of freedom this week is going to help, but it's going to make me even more focused the next day. I'm still going to be in the gym 5 times this week, regardless. So football twice. So I'll be still ticking all my own boxes this week, shall we say?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's for me. It's having that knowledge now, but almost to prove to everybody that like look, you can't say a bad word. Like 2 years, right? In 3 years, so 3 years coming towards the end of this year. Look, joined Reece 3 years ago. Been a year on my own, and people going, well, yeah, but you look good. Well, yeah, because that's what you're meant to look if you've been with a PT or you've learned from someone. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't mean right everything's forgotten and right we'll go
Yeah.
back to being how we was normally before. So that's what I'm looking really forward to.
Me too. No, me too. That's why we put such an emphasis on education and we build out the education like resources and videos is because like you said, like the whole point of being with a PT isn't so you get a good 6 month transformation, go back
Nah,
to square one and think, fucked it, right, let's do another 6 week cut or another 6 month
yeah,
transformation. It's right, I've been with a coach, I've been with a PT, and I can keep my result for life. You know,
yeah,
it's actually quite funny. I had a conversation the other day and someone was putting it into perspective. Someone's been with like this like group coaching based thing that they were doing it for years. So and they say the program is expensive. Like, I'll be honest with you, it is. Like, you know, full transparency, it is, right?
yeah.
And I was like, do you mind me asking how many years you've been with your group coaching program that charge you $99 a month? And she was like, oh, fucking like 4 years. I was like, and your results in the last 4 years have been? She went, oh, well, I've been yo-yo in and out, but more or less around the same. So when you put it into perspective, that's 1,200 a year,
Yeah.
2,400 over 2 years. That's 4,800 quid that you've put down the drain with not getting a result. So,
Well,
you
not
know,
changing
investing
it.
into yourself a little bit heavier on the front end, but keeping that result for the next 25, 30 years, you spread that out, it's a fucking bargain, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, if it's cheap and you're giving the knowledge that you're giving, then you'll be bankrupt, wouldn't you? Really? Like if people can come in with you for 2 years, and people are going to 2 years is quite a long time, but it's not. It's not, because you
No.
can't just go, right, I'm going to go with Reese for a couple of months, I'm going to know everything, because there's so much to learn. That's what I think people forget. That there's
100%.
so much to go with obviously not everybody's the same. Don't get me wrong. I'm one of them people that when you get into something, I'm in. I'm fully in. Do you know what I mean? There's
All
no
in, yeah, yeah.
half-hearted. So I know some people go, oh well, I'll do this today and I might do it tomorrow, but ultimately that's not going to get the results. Um,
100%.
so that for me is that's why I think I want to prove to my missus so that the money
I
was
love that.
worth it.
I love, yeah. That's fucking brilliant. You know what? That podcast in a year's time, like, so for those listening, me and George are committed. We had a conversation the other day, and he was like, "My biggest goal is in a year's time, I'm going to jump back on the podcast, and the conversation is going to be, here's what's happened since our last chat, and my results are a million times better, and I'm still firing from all fucking cylinders, right?" And that's something that for
Absolutely.
me, that I was thinking, that's so exciting. Like when we do
Yeah.
that, it's just going to be like a brilliant experience. It's going to be a great chat, and you're going to be all right. I learned this education. I've kept it. Mrs. is
Yeah.
happy. Fucking
Yeah.
good to go, right?
Six packs back. She even said that to me earlier.
Fucking quality. I love it. So I'm curious, what kind of results have you seen that you weren't expecting? You know, I'm sure it's probably
um,
expecting to lose some weight, get a nice shape, and you know, having some energy. But was there anything that you wasn't expecting that you experienced? You said, "Oh, like, you know what? Weren't expecting this to happen."
so I never, well, obviously everybody wants a six pack. Never had a six pack. Obviously did the photo shoot. Felt
Yeah.
incredible. Was a great feeling. Um, and to be honest, it was only because I've been looking back at it, but like I think I'm the same weight as I was when I started, but I look
Yes.
completely different. And that was one of the big. I remember having conversation with you over the period of time and saying, look, I want to. Obviously, we cut, and then I said, like, look, I want to gain some muscle. And looking back through my photos, obviously looking at two photos where I've got no shape, I've got no like sculpt to obviously my muscle. But then looking at it now, and you're like, right, okay, there's a chest there, there's some shoulders there,
Yeah,
there's some
yeah, yeah.
biceps there, there's some triceps there, and there's half a six pack, should we call it? And
Oh, there's a
so
six pack.
you know what I mean. So having that just shows that everything that you've put into me is right, but also I've taken the knowledge on board to go, right, okay, well, I've given everything to cut. It isn't
Absolutely,
easy. We both know that.
absolutely.
There's tough days. But then obviously going with the bulk and trying to kick on with that, again, it's tough because you've got to maintain the calories going in. You can't just go, right, I'll do it for 5 days and then I'll have a couple of days off and it'll be a little bit lower,
Yeah,
or I'll eat double the amount and you end up putting on too much fat, and then you're like, well, I can't do this. But yeah, but you've had
back
some
to where you
takeaways
started,
over
didn't
the weekend. Do you know what I mean? Like
you? Yeah,
the fat's over the muscle and you look the same. So being
absolutely.
able to see that I physically feel like stronger, fitter, and you can tell the difference on the photos as well is a huge thing, I think, for anyone.
100%. Yeah, mate, I totally agree with you. And like you say, it's crazy when you do look at it when you go, right, I'm the same weight, but I've replaced, I say replaced, a lot of people think you can just kind of like turn muscle
Yeah,
to fat. They're separate entities. But
yeah,
I've shifted and dropped loads of body fat. I've built loads of lean muscle. So my weight is the same over the 2 years, but I'm just a hell of a
yeah,
lot leaner and a hell of a lot more muscular. And
yeah,
I think for me that's something that's a really cool thing as well, because from a performance perspective, you know you've been at said weight for a long period of time, you thrive off that weight, you know, you score your fucking goals every 5 minutes with that weight. So
yeah,
being in the same kind of weight so you can have a good performance, but just having a completely different aesthetic, power, strength, it's just
yeah.
adding tools to your arsenal when it comes to performance as well, right?
Yeah, 100%. But also, again, I know we always go back to it, but having the right food in at the right time, like
Yeah,
with the football and the performance. Do you know what I mean? Like I'd never thought, like I said, like eating 500 grams of carbs before I'm going to play football the day before, and like having a little bit in the morning if it's a night game, like a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? Like I'd never thought. Like obviously, I know that we need carbs to play football, but having that knowledge to build them higher days and lower days is brilliant for me, because it means like obviously I'm big on my meal prep. I do that on a Sunday, so I'm ready for the week ahead. But if I
100%.
know what I've got to eat on each day, it makes life so much easier. Do you know what I mean? And
Takes you
you
thinking away, right?
having the knowledge as well to go and pick a food that you know, like I know you say it, but I could probably eat if you said, "Look, George, you've got to eat 2,000 calories." I could probably do it without without my fitness pal
Thinking.
because of the knowledge that I've had over the period of time of doing the cut and the bulk. Because
Yeah.
you've got to make fine changes to balance out obviously getting through each day of what works for you because everybody's different.
Absolutely, mate, 100%. And I think for those listening as well, like what George referring to there is like a carb loading strategy, whereby you would kind of somewhat restrict on other days, but you would load up carbs prior to a high performance day. That could be a football match, big freaking leg day, could be a netball game, whatever you do, right? And I think that's a strategy we adopted because you get the best of both worlds. You get to strip down body fat and utilize the days outside of game days, but then you carb load heavily prior to game day, so you still have the same amount of energy where it really matters. And yes, there's give and take to everything, right? So maybe on some
Yeah,
other days you might feel a little bit more tired, right? Just purely because we've borrowed some carbohydrates from other places. Like
yeah,
we didn't fling them out of thin air, right? We had to take them from somewhere else to put them into the day
yeah,
prior. So, there's pros and cons to a strategy, but I think for someone like yourself that has a strong mindset, it's like the strategy would be perfect for us because I know you can dig in deep during your work days and during days outside of football, right? And then utilize performance so you can go fucking score a hat trick, come home, Bob's your uncle, chill out for the evening,
yeah.
right?
Job
So
done. Yeah,
it's a big game changer, and it's something I want to revert back to quickly. We spoke
yeah.
about getting the missus on board, and I get it, mate. And every man watching or listening gets it. And I suppose every female from the other perspective get it. How is it like for your missus as well to kind of see you in the shape you are now, but like not just aesthetically, but I suppose the man you are in, strong and powerful and healthy, and how's that from her perspective?
Well, I'll let you know if we make it to Thursday. but 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 yeah, like
Quality.
we. I think we've been together 15 years, and like I said, like probably the first 10, I'd never thought about going to the gym. To be honest, I remember me and my
Yeah.
mate, we back when we was younger, we were the part of the leisure centre, and went to the gym there. And there was times where we finished work, we got to the car park, drove around the car park, looked at each other, and went, "What are we doing here?" And fucking drove home. Do you know what I mean? Like honestly, there's times where we got to the car park. I didn't even stop the car. We just looked at each other and went, "Yeah, let's go home. We'll go down the pub. Job done." Like never even thought
Yeah.
about it. Do you know what I mean? And like, but yeah, I think for me, it's the biggest thing for me is being healthy, like being able to run around with the kids and like grandkids, and obviously see my dad do it now. And just I don't want to be that one that can't do that. So like setting a good example of, I think looking back on what I could have done, I think it's probably making me thrive more the older I get. Um, and I don't want to slow down. I don't want to stop being able to
Absolutely.
do anything. I don't want to say, oh, I can't do something because of my age, or I can't do anything because of my body. And I think there's a lot of people that are going to regret that moving forward in the next period of time when you look at how unfit some people are.
Absolutely. And one of the sad things as well is people wait for trauma to make change. So maybe they have a
Yeah,
health checkup and, their is off the charts, or God
yeah,
forbid, have a heart attack, or maybe even a family member. We've had multiple consultation calls with people that go, my father or my sister had a stroke or a heart attack. And it made me realize now how important health is. And if someone leads that healthy lifestyle early doors,
yeah,
it's just gonna be like you're never gonna run into those issues. Obviously, with a pinch of salt, there could be underlying things, but you're giving yourself the best opportunity to skip past all health issues, so you can live a
absolutely.
long, happy, healthy, fun lifestyle. And when we look at the bigger picture, especially for someone like yourself, now your boy is gonna grow up, going like, I don't even need to start getting fit or begin getting healthy. Like I watched my dad do it
Yeah,
for years, so I do it now as well. And it's just like this is the normal thing to do, right? They don't know any, like you say,
yeah.
like
They don't know any
you don't know
different,
any different, right? And
which is the best
it's
way to
such a
be.
good way to grow up because he's going to get to 18, 19, fit and healthy, 29, 39, and then funny thing is, mate, he'll have his kids and then they'll fucking get, and
Yeah,
do you know what, like even now, like perspective, when you think how crazy it is, you've probably just changed an entire generations and generations of Gaskins,
Yeah,
right? Your kids,
that
kids,
ain't
and
a good thing.
the likelihood is you've started something here, right? Which is
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
quality.
Christ.
Yeah, mental in it. Fucking incredible. But as we kind of come towards the end of the podcast here, I'd love to know, is there any specific advice or, let's say, for instance, if someone on the fence, or if you were speaking to yourself prior to starting this journey,
Yeah.
what advice would you give? What advice would you give to somebody who's maybe on the fence of kickstarting their journey with a coach?
I would say just join up now. But I would say probably reach out to people that, like, for instance, if someone's watching this or someone's speaking to you, um, and they're thinking, well, is it right for me? Speak to anybody that's worked with you. That's what I would do. If I knew someone that
100%.
had worked with you before, which I did, reach out to them. No one's going to lie. No one's going to say, "Oh, nah, don't do it," or "Yeah, go and do it," for the wrong reasons. Because the reason
Yeah.
is everybody's got the right transformation and got what they wanted out of the process because it works. Simple as that. It works. Do you know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
even even coming to even coming to the event and speaking, seeing how many different people are in the room, like completely different, like doing a workout together, speaking to 5 or 6 different people in a little workout group that I haven't seen since, but we had really good conversations then. Do you know what I mean? It just flowed.
Yeah,
Like everybody wants the same thing. But I would honestly
absolutely.
say reach out to people that have worked with you. Because if anybody, I would happily pick up the
100%.
phone to anyone regarding anything. But if they wanted to speak about what's gone on over the last couple of years, happy days to. But
Yeah,
like I
pleasure.
say, until you've been in there and done it, you can't really say what you want to get out of it until you have a
Yeah.
proper conversation with yourself.
Mate, absolutely. And like you say, if someone's had a bad experience, they're gonna go, "Oh yeah, it's fucking brilliant." They're gonna think, "That yeah, that prick
Yeah,
was alright," or something.
absolutely. Yeah,
But
yeah,
no, dude, you're 100% right. And I suppose for those listening, it's difficult because they're probably thinking to themselves, "Oh, if I reach out to Reese to put me in contact, he's gonna give me whoever he thinks he's gonna say the best things." But 99.9% of the time, the members of ours are always tagged on our social media, right?
absolutely.
Or
Well, they've seen the
if they
pictures
come.
of them.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So if someone listening went, for instance, is a screenshot. I saw this person online. Can you put me in contact with this specific
Yeah,
transformation I saw? I would love
exactly.
to just ask a question or two. And like I think that's such a magical thing about like a fitness community as well. Is people can find it intimidating, but it's such a welcoming environment. And
Yeah,
like you said just there, like if a random stranger just went, "Hey George, I've got a quick question about the program," but yeah, of course. Like, how can I help you? I know you're trying to get going on your health. Like, I'm happy to point you in the right direction. Like, it's such a welcoming and it's just such an elevating environment. And it blew my mind
absolutely.
when I very first started it as well, because way back, where at the beginning of my journey, I was a very introverted kid. Very, like, I wouldn't say boo to I just,
Yeah,
my missus laughs about it all the time. I actually said this on a podcast with Matt. My missus laughs at me all the time because, like, before I kind of started working on my, body and confidence and so forth, if I would be like at her family's house, dude, I'll be awkward as fuck. Like, I'll be bright red, sitting in a corner. Someone asked me I was just socially awkward. Someone asked me a question. I'm just like, like I just didn't know what to do. Right. So, like, you go through the fitness
that's why you drink
environment, you go
wine.
to the gym, and that's why you drink wine. Exactly. Fucking hell, 5 bottles of it. But that's why I was like, when I went to the gym environment and I kind of like had conversation with people who had things in common. Then all of a sudden, I didn't feel as socially awkward. I felt a bit more confident. I started working on my body, and I
Yeah,
felt like I had more presence. And yeah, tangent, but you're totally right, dude. And listen, from my end, I just want to say again, a huge thank you for trusting and allowing me to be a part of your journey, mate. It's been more than a privilege and honor. It's been a laugh. It's been a fucking great transformation journey. And dude, you've been an absolute pleasure to work with. So, dude, firstly, thank you. But secondly, you should be extremely proud of yourself because the results you achieved and the people you inspired is nothing short of fucking amazing. So, good work, dude.
appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Guys, see you in the next episode. And George, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.